screen share. I'll say that again. We're going to do a screen share. I will go over my presentation. I don't know. I can't really hear anybody here, but I'm not sure how many people were actually there for my presentation to Ignite. A couple of the emails that went out said that I'm going to be covering all social. It said like social media in general. And we can get into more than just YouTube if you'd like to. But YouTube's where the talk was focused. So that's where I'm going to start. And then we can just sort of go from there. I do encourage everybody to ask questions. And especially after we're done, ask questions. I can go into things. We can go into detail because again, it's a PowerPoint presentation. I'm just banging through information. I try not to be overwhelming. And then I turned it over to the audience at that time. So can everybody hear me? Can you shake your heads? Okay, the people that I can see. Okay, so we have 23 people here, so that's good. So let's see here. Let me see if I can share my screen with you. All right, so let's see here. What a slideshow. All right. So can everybody see this? Can you just see the, let's see here.
YouTube for real estate, black and white.
Yeah, and can you see me at all or no?
Yeah, we can see you.
You can?
Yep.
Okay. Because right now, what it's going on for me is I cannot see myself. I can only see the screen. So let me move this around a little bit. So in my presentation, it was a little question and answer type situation. So I assume I can't really get answers from everybody. So it's YouTube for real estate agents. Let's see here. Creating content that attracts and convert. So that's your main thing. So you want to attract people and then you want to convert them. So the question that I asked the audience is a question that I hear a lot. Who loves how they look and sound on video? I imagine if I could see everybody right now, no one would be raising their hands. That's how it generally goes. You love it? You love how you look and sound? All right, Jay, I can see you. You're the only person I can see right now. So you can see me though? You're sure?
Yep, I can see you. I can see you.
All right.
Yep.
All right. All right.
And I'm just kidding.
All right. So hi, I'm Paul, and I hate the way I look and sound on video. I do. I hate everything about it. But I do it anyways. So here's a little bit of my street cred here. I do about $20 million a year. Real Trends top 100 solo agents in the state of Michigan, Centurion agent 9 times or so. You can see all these trophies in the back. Oh, they don't just hand these out to anyone. And I've been featured on Fox 2 and CBS about 10 or 12 times now. So, and all that happened because of social media. At first it happened because of Instagram, and then it moved along to YouTube, and now I'm getting back into Instagram a little bit. So it all came from social and video, mainly this thing right here, my YouTube channel. So as you can see, this was the slide from my presentation at Ignite. I was at 32,000 subscribers. And now as of today, I'm at 34,000. So I've gained another 2,000 in those few weeks. I don't know how long it was. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago. So roughly $80 million in business sold from the YouTube channel is what we're looking at. So, let me see. This is my Instagram. This is an old picture of my Instagram. So this was my personal Instagram, and then I started this other Instagram page right before the Ignite event. And this right here, if you can see my mouse, this is where a lot of my business used to come from. So I would shoot a lot of stories to connect with my audience, a lot of my sphere, a lot of the people that I already knew. And that's what really got me comfortable on camera. So then a few of my friends said, hey, you should start a Metro Detroit page. So I did. And at the time, I had 543 followers and 136,000 views since I started that thing. And that was as of the Ignite presentation. So today I just made a new one. This is my updated. So I'm over 6,000 followers now on my personal little over 4,200 here, but I just passed the 1 million view mark on the Instagram. So if anybody has any questions about that stuff, I can absolutely help. But that's not what we're here for. But this is what got me comfortable on camera initially. So before we start, you do not need tens of thousands of subscribers and views. I sold over $20 million from YouTube with only a few videos and subscribers. So it wasn't doing it very long. I just stuck with it. So the 3 big takeaways I want everybody to get out of this is why YouTube? That's pretty important. What to create and what not to create, and how to make this stuff. Because I mean, that's important too. Does that sound good, everybody? Everybody shake your heads. I can't see you. I can't really interact with you. I get a thumbs up. All right, good. All right, so number 1, why YouTube? So I always tell everybody it's where your ideal customers are. It's where people go to learn information, and it allows you to speak to many all the time. So if we look at a little bit behind the scenes of my YouTube channel, every minute of every day, thousands of people are watching my videos. So if you think about, you would never be able to do that. You would never be able to replicate that. You can't go and knock on everyone's door all the time. So it allows you to speak to a whole bunch of people all the time, sort of evergreen. So who are your ideal customers? So this is where I asked everybody who your ideal customers were, and where are they spending their time? So this is a graph, a chart that was on. I blocked off all the information, and I'll show it to you in a minute. It's a lot of information. It's a little overwhelming, but your main points, this is the use of online platforms, sometimes, okay, by demographic group. So we're looking at the most important parts here, and if you can see my mouse, would be people who are making a lot of money with college degrees or some college degrees. Like that is your main, and then your age group. So you've got your age. I know that we can't really do that in real estate, but knowing that somebody makes a lot of money and they're well educated is a good thing. So TikTok, you've got 48% of the users are 18 to 29. 20% of them make $75,000 a year or more, and 19% of them are college educated. So we know there's a lot of people there, but not a lot of them make a lot of money. And that this is directly from that chart. So Instagram, one that I love, right? So 47% make over $75,000 a year, and 49% of them have college educations. And then we go to Facebook. So 70% make over $75,000 a year, and 73% in college. So you've got an older audience on Facebook. I think a lot of us know that, but it's different there. So if we were talking about a Facebook marketing class, that is completely different than the other stuff that we're working on here. So YouTube, 90% make over $75,000 a year, and 86% of them have a college degree. And so you can see 83 to 90% are 30 to 64 years old. So your ideal customers are there. So this is the actual chart. I didn't want to show it to you again. It's a vomit of information. I can email this to anybody who actually wants to see it, but just know that right here, this is your YouTube column here, and it's the best one. It is the best one of the bunch. So if you're going to market to anybody, there would be the best. And then so you have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and then it just goes down from there. So then TikTok's over here. So a lot of people are like, well, why aren't you on TikTok? That's why. So they are on YouTube. So that, if you had any questions, they are on YouTube. And they're watching to learn, and they're not watching to be interrupted. So unlike a lot of these other ones, where when you go onto these platforms, you're being interrupted by the content. So it's a very disruptive type of content model. So if you go on Facebook or you go on Instagram, I'm not sorry, not Instagram. Yeah, Instagram to some degree. But if you're on TikTok or anything like that, you're being served the stuff. It's not search-based. So you're not going there to find out information about where to live. You're going there to be interrupted and to just mindlessly scroll through stuff. So where do people go online when they want more info? So this is a question that I asked. They go to Google and they go to YouTube. Everybody uses Google. I don't think anybody here really uses Yahoo. If you do, sorry. And the bonus to this is YouTube content shows up in the Google searches because YouTube and Google, they're one company. So sort of like Zillow and Trulia. So it's one to many. So YouTube amplifies your message to people who are actually looking for it. So this is what I said before. So if somebody searches for a city, a town, an area, or whatever, they will find the content that makes sense to them. So my average currently is 480 views per hour. So that's 24/7, 365. So again, so this is when I was talking before about how there would be no physical way for me to replicate that. And that's without me paying for any sort of ads. So 408 every hour of every day, nearly 500 views, which is wild. Like for me to even think about that. I feel like I'm on, too much. So you can create a video once and have it consume forever. And so I have this, see this green tree stuff that's evergreen. So that's what we call evergreen content. So that's what we're going to be focusing on creating. So what to create? Searchable content. So I would always say if you're first starting out, you should be creating searchable based content, things that people are going to find organically through a search. Does anybody want to see this? I'm just going to play it because I can't see anybody else. This is just a small clip of my first video ever. Hopefully you can hear it. Oh man, if it doesn't work.
Okay. When you hit share screen, Paul, there's a button over on the left-hand side that says share sound because we can't hear.
Oh,
it.
where?
So if you
Let me
unshare
see.
and then come back to that,
Where at?
unshare your screen or stop
Oh,
sharing
wait.
your screen.
It should be.
Just a minute.
Okay, I found it here.
Okay.
All right. Let me see if you can hear it now.
Hey, it's Paul Wolfert here with Century 21 Row and MovingMI.com, and I'm here to answer the big question when selling your house. Who
Were you 12?
Wonderful.
I thought you
should
were
you pick?
doing an imitation
There's
of
so
an
many
owl.
realtors out there. What's the difference? Is there a difference? So what should you do? Should you go with that local down-home guy, the agent that's lived in the city forever, or the big
It's not the
shot
whole thing.
billboard agent? I call them billboard agents for obvious reasons. They're the ones with the billboards. In every city across the U.S., you'll find billboard agents. Or maybe.
Okay, so that is the first video that I posted to YouTube. This was posted on December 8th, 2014. And I gave up because YouTube didn't work. I had flooded YouTube with a few videos like this, where it was very generalized information. It was like picking the right real estate agent, Zillow versus, a real estate agent. Like it was all stuff I thought that would be interesting for people to watch.
Hey, it's Paul Wolfert here with
not again. This is my most recent video. It's actually not my most recent video, but this was my most recent video at the time when we did this class. So let's see what I selected here. Today we're going over the top 10 best Detroit suburbs to buy a home right now. What makes these the best places to buy a house is the crazy amount of value the homes in these cities have gained year after year after year after year. The #1 city in this list has had values jump over 40% in the past 5 years. Tell me that's not crazy. Can you imagine not buying a house a few years ago and seeing homes sell for 40% more? You'd be saltier than soy sauce. So we're counting them down 10 to 1, and I'll tell you where they're at, how much the value has gone up, and why I think that people are shelling out so much cash to live there. Now, before we... All right, so one of my most recent videos, and it's way different than what I was creating before. So, and I was creating that because people are searching for where to live or best places to live. So it's a totally different way. And we'll get into making something like that. It is possible. I mean, you could see my journey there, how bad I was originally. And some people say to me, oh, your original videos, they weren't that bad. They were bad. They were not good. No,
Today we're going over the...
Okay. One more time here. Okay. So you want to create stuff like this. So this is exploring America's most overpriced city, Birmingham, Michigan. So this is because it's search based. So when somebody is searching for something like the city of Birmingham, or it has more keywords in it. So you don't want to only create things that are keyword based, and we can get into all that afterwards. But you would want to create something like that, and not something like this. Sell your house for more money, Paul Wolfert, realtor, Century 21. You don't need all, and then with the titles, how to sell your house for top dollar. Nobody's going to be searching, and nobody's going to find your video for that. Nobody would find my video for that either. So this is what I like everybody to keep in mind when you are creating a video. So look, read, click, watch. So you want somebody to first see the thumbnail and say like, hey, what's that about? And then read the title. And then you want to get the click, and you want them to actually watch. So that should be the formula for every single video you create. And as you can see on that first thumbnail that I showed you, there's only 3 elements to it. There's a background, there's a block of text, a short block of text, and my face. So it's the 3 elements. So I always like to have 3 elements in the thumbnail. And I like to create the thumbnail before I even create the video, because I want to know how we call that packaging. So how you're going to actually package the video. So what can you create today? So Google and YouTube will actually give you the answers to all this. So if you type in whatever city you're in, they're going to give you a list of things. So I went incognito here, and I just typed in Detroit, Michigan, and a bunch of stuff came up. Like, what happened to Detroit? The city of Detroit, things to do in Detroit, Detroit, Michigan directions. And then it will give you people also search for. Is Detroit a good city to live in? What is Detroit famous for? Is it worth visiting Detroit? So these are all good video ideas, and this works for every single city. So it doesn't matter where you're at. People are searching for information. So even if you only get a few views, even if you live in Smithfield, a non-existent city, the people who are searching for that information and that find that information and that consume that information are very, very, very likely to contact you, or at least they're going to watch the information because it's targeted to them, right? So it's stuff that it's very timely information. So when you start typing things in, Google will actually start filling out stuff for you. So I did Detroit, Michigan, and then it's neighborhood, neighborhood map, neighborhood scout, worst neighborhoods, abandoned neighborhoods, best neighborhoods, nice neighborhoods. And you can fill in the blank. You can put your city in with any of these, and they're good. So what are people searching for? So your city tour, your city info, your city schools. You don't have to say what the best schools are, but you can show where they're at. You can show them on a map. You can talk about the school districts. You can talk about where you can live to still be in that district. All those things work. Things to do, best neighborhoods near whatever school, because a lot of times people are searching for that, especially like private schools and things. People want to know where to live or how far away these things are. This is something that I added after the class because it's something that I've talked on other podcasts about. And I actually just created this today, so bear with me. I always talk about it because I'm a very visual person, and I always called this the content net. A lot of people call it buckets. They say like, these are the different buckets of content that I create. I create tours, or I create, neighborhood information, neighborhood guides. I always called it a net, and I like the way that this works. So at your widest, for me personally, the mansion tours or big homes, that is at my absolute widest portion of my net, because that is where a lot of the viewers may not be my target audience, but they might attract people to my world. And So that it might not translate into business, but it attracts people to the actual channel. And then the second circle in my net would be statewide content. So pros and cons of living in Michigan, what it's like living in Michigan, the weather in Michigan, the snow in Michigan, all the Michigan stuff. So statewide stuff. And then from there, we go into the county. So then, I've got, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb. So I'm Metro Detroit primarily. So you go county based. So you can say like, best cities in Oakland County, best places to live in Wayne County. And then we go city based. So people funnel from the state itself down to the city that you're, targeting, and then down to the neighborhood level. So best neighborhoods in Farmington Hills, whatever, so like you can have a whole bunch of videos based on that alone. And then you can do house tours and everything inside that. So how to make these videos, keep it simple. So I'll play this little clip real quick. Super quick, right? It was just 16 million views. I know that's a very popular thing to search. It was the Apollo moon landing, but it was terrible, right? So, oh man, I don't know why it double plays everything. So it was terrible quality, but the content was good. And that's what people cared about. So my initial videos, my first videos on YouTube are terrible. They're not good. But again, so I sold 20 million from terrible videos because people didn't care that they were not perfect. They just cared that they served the need. Like they were looking for information and I was there with the information. It's going to play this again. Okay. So start where you are with what you have. So your cell phone is just fine. I actually just shot this is sort of added in after the fact. I just shot a home tour this past weekend with my phone because I didn't have any of my camera equipment on me, but I was there with clients. So we were at a Toll Brothers model. I pulled out my phone. I did a 30-minute tour of this house and it has, I think, 24,000 views on it. So your cell phone will work just fine. I didn't have a fancy microphone. I didn't have a fancy lens. I didn't have anything. I just had my Google phone. That's it. So this is the simple video structure that I like to use for both YouTube and for Instagram content. So you need the hook, the actual meat of the video, and then the takeaway. So the takeaway can either be just information that you're sharing or a question to the audience, but your hook, let me see here. So your hook examples, welcome to my favorite neighborhood in all of whatever. Right. So then if you have somebody searching for that city, that would hook them in. So if they happen to be searching for Troy, Michigan, I'm in Troy right now, so it's easy example. If somebody's searching for Troy neighborhood or Troy, Michigan, or where to live in Troy, and the first things that come out of your mouth are welcome to my favorite neighborhood in all of Troy, people that are searching for Troy will watch that. So you want to know what it's really like to live in Troy, right? So it's things like that. So you want to hook them in, because if you don't hook them, then they're not going to watch the rest of the video. So you want to keep it moving, keep them watching, script when needed, and don't talk about yourself excessively because people don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about all the things you've done. I tried all that. I'm like, I've sold $1 billion in real estate. Nobody cared. They just cared that I was going to share the information that they cared about. I started peppering in the information throughout my videos later on. So after I hook them, after they're already they've invested time into watching, I might say like, I've sold hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever. So they could say like, oh, this guy might know what he's talking about. But you don't want to talk about yourself. You don't want to start the video out by saying like, hi, this is Paul. Like, I'm a real estate agent with Century 21 Professionals. Like, welcome to my channel. Like, I don't care about any of that. And then so script when needed, I should go back to that. Script when needed. I do use a teleprompter. I have a teleprompter right here in front of my face. And I script a lot of stuff line by line, just like I'm reading this. And then I riff off of that. So I might have a block of text that I read, and I read it and I talk to my editor. So I do have an editor that I work with, but I'll say, hey, I'm going to read this long block of text. I need you to, make sure that I don't look like an idiot. And then I even have, this is a foot pedal right here. I don't know if you can see me, but this is a foot pedal. I can control my, I can control everything so that I can actually use my hands and not be messing around with my computer as things are going. So then the takeaway. So what should the viewer take away from the video? So what an area looks like, what houses look like in the city, and what is a neighborhood close to. So those are just some examples of things that people might want to know after they've consumed your video, because when they find your video, if it's on Troy, Michigan or whatever, they might want to know what the streets look like and what the sidewalks look like and how big the lot sizes are and everything. So that's where I've really exploded my channel. So wrapped up, make simple videos that people are looking for and become the expert they trust. So once you've, there's this rule that Google put together about how much time somebody actually has to spend with you digitally before they actually trust you. And it's quite a bit. So people, when they start really consuming your information, if you have a catalog of content on your YouTube channel, even if you don't get a lot of views on it, when people start spending time with you virtually, they will just inherently trust you because you are the person that's showing them around. And I started doing very raw home tours. So instead of doing the fancy fly through drone videos or standing outside of a house saying, well, welcome to 123 Main Street, let's go take a look inside, and then the drone flies through, I started making videos that were very raw, the same way that I would show it to a client. And that's where a lot of my business comes from, that, from people just having me do video tours and everything, because they trust me. They trust me to do it because I talk about it all the time and I show it on the channel. So that, let me see here. I'm going to stop sharing here. So that is the main portion of that class. And this is where I opened it up to everybody to ask questions about whatever, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or anything else. I could get into anything. Does anybody have any questions about anything?
Paul, before anybody jumps in, I do want to say one of the things that Paul forgot to say was do a search for his YouTube channel, but don't follow him. He does not want you to follow him. He does not want you to like him. Why? Because you will distort the trends that he's garnered and nurtured and doing what it's doing. So,
but that's a good point. So when you are starting out on YouTube, you do not want there's this urge to share it with your friends and your family and put it on Facebook and tell everybody that you've now created a YouTube channel. And that is not your target audience. Your friends and your family, those are not the people that you're trying to attract with these videos. You're trying to attract people who are searching for this content. So you want to stay away from doing that, because what that'll signal to YouTube is that somebody came into the video. Your friends and family are not going to sit and watch. They might say that they watched your whole video. They're not going to watch it because they don't care, especially if they're not going to be moving. So it signals to YouTube that people are coming to your videos primarily from another source, Facebook or wherever you're sharing them, and they're not staying for long. They might subscribe, but they're not watching the whole video. They might watch 10 seconds of it or maybe a minute, but they're not staying for the whole thing. So it throws everything off. So if I have a bunch of real estate agents that start following my channel, which I do, like there's a lot of real estate agents out there throughout the country that copy my content, which is fine. But it doesn't help me. It hurts my channel because it's telling YouTube that those are the right people, so that they should continue to serve up the information to those people. So, that's true. The Instagram stuff, I don't care if people follow my new Instagram. I've actually had a lot of real estate agents sharing my new Instagram stuff, which is okay. That's fine. You've got a real estate agent. You're sharing my, it's fine. It just helps me. But that's fine. You can share it. You can share and follow that stuff. But as far as the YouTube stuff, probably not.
So question in the chat is, what teleprompter app do you use?
So I don't use a teleprompter app. I use CapCut when I'm using my phone. So if I'm using my phone and I'm doing videos for Instagram, I use CapCut because they have a really simple, it's just you put the text in there. It's easy. For this is an Elgato teleprompter and I just share my screen, I usually just have a Google Doc where I write my script. I make it a black screen with white text because I don't get like a reflection. It's getting too off in the weeds and technical, but it looks bad. So if the screen's white down here and it's shining up, it shines white light back in my face and I don't like the way it looks. So I do black, white text, and then I control it with this guy here. So it's not an actual app, but it's just Google Docs.
Okay, another question in the chat was, are you going to distribute your PowerPoint presentation? Because doing the side-by-side, a few folks were having trouble seeing the slides themselves.
Sure. I can share it. It's a Google slide document, so you'll have to have a Gmail account, but I can definitely share it.
Is it easy enough to put the link in the chat so they could just click on it?
It would probably be easier if we emailed it. Let me see here.
So with what Paul just said, if you want to put your email in the chat, then I can go ahead and
Sure.
capture those emails unless he can do what he needs to do quickly.
Yeah, I think I can do it. So we're gonna go. All right, done. So let me see if I get back to the chat. Done. Look at that. Figured it out.
There it is. So now it is in the chat. And if you're not familiar with chat, chat's at the bottom of the screen. If you do have a question that you want to ask them instead of put in chat for me to say it, all you have to do is touch the space bar. And as you speak, keep holding that space bar. And when you're done talking, just let go with the space bar.
I see somebody, Stephanie said, Big View is a great teleprompter app. It is a good teleprompter app. So the trouble that I've found, and other people might feel the same way, is that when I'm using an actual teleprompter and it's rolling through, I have trouble. It looks like I'm reading. So when it looks like I'm reading, I think it throws off the authenticity of the whole thing. And I tend to throw in my thoughts a lot. So things like that I add in after the fact, or like little quips that I'll add in about a city or a town. And that's hard to do if you're reading directly from something that's scrolling in front of you like a newscaster. So if what I'll do is I'll have like a paragraph or just a few sentences, and I'll read those off. And then if I have my thoughts, I can go for them. And then I keep showing this thing, but I can go up and down on the document without it doing it for me. Because when it's going, and it's just, I'm like, oh man, where was I? I lost my space, and that's not a very good situation.
I just want to make sure, Mike and Natalie, that you saw the link in the chat that you can click on, so we don't need to email it to you.
I didn't realize I'm looking back through the chat right now. I didn't realize that the stuff wasn't full screen. I thought it was full screen the whole time. Sorry about that.
No, it was side by side, which again, I think it's a mixed bag. Yes, we get to see your animation, which I think is also important because again, this was originally a class where we did see it in person. So that was the other thing. You didn't tell them just how geeky you are about all this.
Yeah. So I probably know more about content creation than real estate, which isn't a good thing to say. But I obsess about this stuff. So the analytics, everything about it. So like how to create this stuff, this is where I love it. So I love doing all this stuff.
So Natalie's asking that you send an email as well. So I'll send that to you, Paul, afterwards.
Awesome.
Hi, Paul.
Anybody else? Oh, I see
No
Kiana's
other questions.
Oh,
Question, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul, can you hear me?
Yep. Sure can.
When you were doing the tours at the houses, did you have
Yeah.
to get permission from the other agents to show that?
Yeah. So that's been a challenging point. It's super frustrating because I'll find houses that are really expensive, really nice houses, and there's no video marketing for them. And I'll reach out to the agent and I'll say, hey, like I want to make a video. I'll include you as the agent. I'll do whatever. And most of them say no. So I've had unique situations where if it's a builder, a lot of builders are okay with it because they want people in there. So I do a lot of new construction. That's where I've really started to go into more of the new construction stuff because most builders are open to it. Or the homeowners themselves will ask me to do it. But yes, you do have to get permission in order to do it because I mean, you have to get access to the house and they're going to ask you, they don't always ask if you have a client for it. But if you're trying to tour a $1 million, $2 million, $3 million house, they'll be asking some questions. So that's, yeah, you should.
Yeah, thank you, because I know I've asked and they weren't receptive to it.
Yep. It's very frustrating.
Hi, Paul. This is Danette. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay. I was at your presentation during Ignite. I loved it. Love this. And I took some of your advice. You had said not to put a link on your Facebook page to YouTube. So
Yep.
I had created a new video, and again, I mean, I think I need to create it more to bring people like to Michigan or Metro Detroit. But I created a video regarding settling the estates of a loved one because a lot of my business has come from that. I put the video on YouTube, and then I just put the video, that I had created on Facebook rather than sending them to YouTube from Facebook.
Perfect.
So my Facebook video got 235 views and my YouTube video got 5. Any advice?
Yep. Well, so it's going to all go back to packaging. So it's going to be because when you post something to your Facebook account, you already have a built-in audience there. You already have friends and family and other people. And a lot of those people that are watching that video might not care at all about the video content itself. Like that's just the reality of it. So they might just watch it just to support you because you're their friend. Where with YouTube, it's all about how you have it packaged. So again, like what that thumbnail looks like. So what are the elements that are in your thumbnail? How you have it titled? What's that first paragraph that you wrote in the description to the video? Is it too much information? Is it not enough information? Is it something that people are even searching for? So that's where I really dig in to find out like how many people are actually searching for the thing. So it's settling estates of loved ones, like how many people are actually searching for that? So I would try to dial in what's the actual phrase that they're searching for, and then make the video around that or change the packaging so that it fills that need. So if it's like estates in Michigan or whatever it is, like you would want to have it dialed into that search term because it's different. Like the method of delivery is different there. So I would have to see the video. And I could tell you like what I think you should change, but it would be some investigative work on my part to like dig into it. But that's probably what it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question: what lighting do you use?
This is a mixed bag of lights. So we have LED panels here. I have this is a bright white LED back here, and it looks like it's blue because that's the type I geeked out about all this stuff too. So this paint, it changes color depending on the light source. So that's a bright white light, makes it look blue. That is a warm white light, so it makes it look brown back there. And then I have spotlights that shoot up behind me that are on the floor to fill in the space. So it's some stuff that goes into it now, but it wasn't always like that.
Do I got any more? Oh, somebody's leaving to take care of a seller. And now they're wanting a recording of this. So the recording is going to, it will become available. It'll be on the HRC agent development channel, which I'll put a link in chat for that because all hot topics go there.
Oh, there is a question here. This is from Jay.
Thank
I
you.
just saw it. You're welcome. So he asked, what would you say are the keys to growing an Instagram account? It depends on what you're trying to grow it for. So with my new, I don't know if anybody else, Jay, I appreciate you asking that because like I've been really
I know you're dying to talk about it, so let's do it.
I'm like,
Get into it.
so like I love creating that stuff, but like that's a little more time consuming. So that I've tried to I figured out that my YouTube channel is really good at pulling in people who are not from the area. So it's people from California, DC, like wherever. But I needed a way to connect with people locally. So the key to that was it's the same stuff. So it's the same structure. It's the same hook, the content, the takeaway. It's all that same stuff, but it's repackaged into my Instagram stuff. So I've been really going heavily on the reels. So I think my best one's like, I don't know, like 600,000 views, but I have a few that are like 100,000, like 100 or 200,000 views over the past couple of weeks. But it's about finding news that people might already know about, but you're just delivering it in your own way. And so that's how I've grown that thing is I'm looking for news that people care about locally that might affect them in some way or that they care about. And so that's where I'm growing that thing in a different way, but in the same.
Yeah. When you say news, are you talking about just specific news or like trending topics on Instagram?
Not trending topics on Instagram. So it's specific topics that are related to. So my new thing is the Metro Detroit Insider. So it's things that are basically just like my YouTube channel. It's like Detroit and beyond. So it's developments that are happening in Metro Detroit or in Detroit. So buildings being torn down, like the racetrack in Northville being ripped apart and they're putting in homes there. So it's stuff that people care about locally to get conversations going so that people see my face. Because a lot of times people do these food review ones where it's a lot of, this is my favorite restaurant, which those are okay. But when you don't have the idea is to get FaceTime. So you want your face to be showing up to other people so that when I'm walking around, I know that 1 million views have come from primarily Metro Detroiters, which that's nuts. Like I don't even know how much it would cost for me to pay for that sort of media. I think I have 4 or 5 million views on my YouTube channel, and now I have 1 million on Instagram. So it's cool. Like I walked into a local bar restaurant, and multiple people were like, "You're that Instagram guy." Yeah, I am.
Nice.
Like that's wild. So that was a new. It had happened before from YouTube, but this was a faster route.
Yeah, I just brought that up because most of the agents that I talk to, when they think about YouTube, it's like this huge daunting task of trying to be a creator, and Instagram seems like what they're usually starting with. So if they're starting with that, maybe it's the better approach for them to really dive in.
Yeah. And so with either one of them, so if you guys want to start an Instagram channel, Instagram page like mine, or just use whatever you have existing, or starting a YouTube channel, it's important to not give up. So like you have to stick with it. And I had to remind myself about that over and over again when I started that new Instagram. I have a really great support group of agents that are outside of the state of Michigan that really pushed me to start that thing. And they would call me, they would text me, they're shooting me messages. They're like, keep doing it. And it was frustrating because I was posting these things and they were going nowhere. Like it was flatlining. And they're like, you just have to stick with it. You have to stick with it. Which is the same advice I would give you if you were starting a YouTube channel. You just have to stick with it. You have to have a catalog of content so that when somebody finds that one video, they find all your other stuff. That's something that I'm really big on. So whatever you do, you have to stick with it. Like going to get to a point where you feel like giving up on it, just don't do that. Just you have to push through.
Cool, thanks.
Can I share a video from IG?
Instagram.
Sure can. Let's see here. Let me go back to sharing. Maybe this will work better. Can you see my screen?
Yes. And it's big.
Sweet. Let's see here. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, so this one has let's see. This one's good. So this one has 130,000 views. This is about this one is about a restoration hardware that's being built in downtown Birmingham. Now, this is not a new story by any means. It's an old story, but I just felt like, why not? Like, why not create the content? So that's where, like, I have to be, I have to stress, it doesn't always have to be new news. It can be stuff that's been around for a while, but people like to see it and they like to share it. So hopefully you can hear this. Oh.
IKEA for the
Oh, hold on.
goodbye. Imagine Chris.
Hold on.
Restoration Hardware, aka IKEA for the wealthy, is building a brand new 4-story gallery store in downtown Birmingham, Michigan. This 67,000 square foot building is going to feature 3 levels of high-end furniture showrooms and a rooftop restaurant with terrace seating. I wonder if they're going to have Swedish meatballs there. The hope is that RH is going to boost Birmingham's retail landscape by attracting shoppers from all over Metro Detroit looking for premium home furnishings. And if all goes according to plan, the increased foot traffic should be good for nearby boutiques, cafes, and restaurants. The design does include an underground parking facility for shoppers, but there's only 26 spaces, so most shoppers will need to park elsewhere and hoof it. So what are your thoughts on this? Is this going to be good or bad for local businesses in Birmingham? Let me know in the comments and follow for more updates like this.
Okay, so what I did there, so I had the hook. My hook was Restoration Hardware, aka IKEA for the wealthy. And I rewrote that thing, I don't know how many times. Trying to figure out like how I was going to hook people into that video, because it's, again, it was old news. But the AKA part, because you can see it right there when the video starts with my caption. I felt like that would be a good hook, and it ended up being a pretty good hook. And then the takeaway, like I asked the question, like, what do you think how is this going to affect local businesses? Because I wanted to get conversations going in the comment section, and it really did. So we have 275 comments on it. And a lot of people don't understand that Metro Detroit is not Detroit. So I have a lot of comments from people that are like, that's not Detroit, that's Birmingham. Yeah, I know. Whatever. But it's all engagement. So you want that. You want the conversation, because people will defend me in the comments, which is always fun to see. But most of them are like this. I've done some reaction videos. So like this is a reaction video. This is an interaction between a hockey official and Dylan Larkin from the Red Wings. And I helped this hockey official buy a house. So I saw this come up because they're talking about real estate. They're talking about where he should live. And I thought this was perfect. So a lot of my content is, again, it's news that I'm finding. Like this one has 523. I just found some footage, but a lot of them are just a few pictures behind me and then me talking. So
I have a question. So
yeah,
I don't have a YouTube channel, but if I wanted to start one, could I take videos that I had on Instagram and transfer them to YouTube to start my channel?
it would depend on the video, but what's going to be difficult is your videos on goes back to when I said that I originally had, hold on, let me stop sharing here.
I think what I'm thinking is like the marketing department has done like open houses for me and they posted them on Instagram or whatever. Can I just take those videos that they did and shoot them to YouTube to start my channel?
You can throw anything you want. I mean, you could put anything. You could put a video of your car on a YouTube channel and say that's my first video. But the problem is that it's not intentionally made. So that's where it goes back to when I first started my channel and I had these videos that I thought would be good YouTube videos, but they weren't videos that anyone was searching for. So it's not like if I go and I do an open house at 123 Main Street and I do a video of that house, nobody's searching for that. Like it's not going to help my channel in any way. So it would have to be you could use that content, but it would have to be made in an intentional way. So I would probably say that wouldn't be the greatest thing to do, because you might feel defeated when you put these videos on there and you see they're not doing anything because nobody's searching for them.
So you can say we're thinking of a way to get on YouTube but not show my face or my voice.
That's what you want to do?
But it's not what I want to do, but it looks like I was avoiding, like how you first started and, you knew that you felt that you weren't great, but you did it anyway. So it's like a daunting task to start doing something like this. And it's like, well, maybe if I did this and if I did that, maybe that could be a start. And then I could ease into showing my face and using my voice.
Well, the thing is
it's
that
not gonna
that's
work,
your
right?
face, that's your face, and that's your voice. So like that, and that's something that I had to overcome because the guy who originally asked me that, does everybody know who Jared James is? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was at one of his events years ago, and he said, "Who here, loves the way they look and sound?" So he said the same thing, and everybody was like, "No, I hate the way I look and sound on video." And he said, "Well, I've got news for you. That's how you look and that's how you sound. And that's how
Right.
you're going to look and sound when you meet somebody. So you need them to get comfortable with how you actually are. So that's, you don't want to look like a robot when you're reading stuff. You want to look very natural. So it's who you are. So like we're in a people business. So a
Right.
lot of my stuff, like I do a lot of, video consults. So that's a big part of my business is doing video consults. So I just do them like this. And I send a lot of video messages to people. So, and that was just me trying to overcome like a fear of the camera, but you got to do it. You just have to do it.
Well, another thing that I could possibly do then is I could actually introduce the video. Like this is an open house that's coming up, or this is an open house at this really cool house that I listed. Could I not do that? So I would still have my voice, but it would be an introduction to the picture of the house as they went through it. No?
So that goes back to a lot. You'll see a lot of real estate agents who do those videos. So a lot of them are on Instagram. They're standing in front of the house and they say like, "Welcome to my newest listing at 123 Main Street. Come and take a look inside." And then the video, the thing flies in and then you
Right.
never see them again. You don't get to interact with them. You have no idea what they think about the house. Sometimes I'll do a voiceover where it's their voice on top of the video and they're saying, "Check out the double ovens" or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're not really getting a chance to see how that person really interacts. So when I'm going through houses, I'm talking about like, "Oh, I don't like where they put the TV. Like, I like these floors, or I don't like this." So that they have a chance to be there with me instead of having a photographer fly a video camera through with trendy music. So
Thank you.
Okay, two things I want to make sure we get out there, Paul. One is there's a question in here. It says, "How did you figure out your net?" And again, that's in quotes. Was it something you read or discovered? The other thing is I wanted you to share just that you're actually are using Zoom for your listing appointments.
yeah. So the first thing, how did I figure out the net thing? Everybody always describes leads as like a funnel, which is fine. But again, I'm super visual, so I like drawing things. And I used to have a big whiteboard in my old office, and I drew this net. I drew a circle, and like at the outermost, at like the biggest point I could, I had I had a video that I made about celebrities that live in Michigan, the houses of celebrities that live in Michigan. And at the time, that was my biggest video I had. So I said that was my widest reaching video because it attracted everybody. And then from there, I just figured out that there were I needed to get people into my world. So it's a funnel, but it's just looking at a funnel sideways or like from the top. So it's the same thing, but different. So I came up with the whole net thing. I have never heard anyone else say that, but that's just the way that I looked at everything. Was I needed to get people from point A to point B. Like all those people watching the celebrity video might not care ever, but knowing that I'm the real estate guy in Metro Detroit, Michigan, like that helps me. So, so it was just something that I discovered. And then, about the Zoom thing, every one of my meetings. So as long as somebody is pre-approved or we're willing to meet with me, we do Google video or Zoom meetings for all of my consults. So I don't meet anybody in person. I don't think I ever have. All of them are done like this or at the house at the first showing, because it's just easier to meet with somebody like this because we can do it on their time, on my time. And then, and they're used to seeing me like this too. So it's fine for them. They don't care.
And again, that's priceless. We got like 3 minutes, folks. So if you got anything, get it out there. Hit that space bar.
Do I have a preference between Zoom and Google? Yes, I do have a preference. Google. And the reason Google is my preference because my company, my Moving MI is my website. So movingmi.com. And my email address is hosted through Google. So they just have a Google Meets feature and I can just schedule it. So I just add in the Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and it just puts an invite in their calendar, a link to click, and we're good to go. So it's just like this, but it just puts it in the calendar.
Too easy.
Yes, it is cohesive. Yes, it's so easy.
Well, that water behind me is begging me to come jump in, and this is
You
not
should, man.
Alaska. All right, folks, this is going to wrap it up. Paul, we can't thank you enough for sharing. And again, hope you all got something out of it. I got something out of it, and I actually sat through the class, but I learned again. On mold, I forgot. I should have wrote it down. But anyways, peace out.
Bye, guys.